Hey everybody, this is Chris with ORBTraders.com. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to go over my trade plan for the August 28th session. Look a little bit into today's action that we had on Wednesday's New York August 27th session. And we've got our levels set, so we'll just dive right on in. So first up, tomorrow morning, an hour before the open, we have some high severity news events, prelim GDP, unemployment claims, and price index on the GDP reporting an hour before open. 30 minutes into the open, pending home sales. 1 hour into open, we've got natural gas storage. And then Waller is getting on the mic. That's near the end of the day after market closes. So let's just be mindful of those events. Depending on what time you get into the markets, be aware you could run into some volatility given that they are high sev events. And let's just dive right into the levels that I have for tomorrow. So I've gone ahead and already plotted these. Feel free to set these up yourself. Do whatever you need to do that works for you. But today we had an orb long. I got in after we broke key levels. So you can see the London high was right here on this candle. We're on the 5-minute candle. So we broke above that. I was actually waiting for the Asia high, the London high, and overnight open to be closed above before I got in. You know, some folks might think that's way too late. You should have entered in, once we broke above on that first minute, that first 5-minute opening range breaker. But I did not see a ton of confluence among the VIX or the VXN. We had a lot of chop in here for the first couple of hours. Finally took off, but this takeoff is when the ES actually started to drop. And so you can look if you hover your mouse over. So we're hitting, I think this was current week highs that we were touching, and then we started to come back down, and you can see at that same time you have price going up on the VIX. And you also have prints below the zero line on the tick. But today I did wait. I like to not just get into a trade because we have 5 minutes, a 5-minute candle closing above the opening range. I want to see one, if there's daily levels in the way. Two, are the market internals lining up? That's the VIX and the tick. Three, I also like to look at our equities, the NASDAQ, the Dow, the Russell, and see if those are also trending. And there was quite a bit of chop. And in addition to that, I also look at our major players that comprise most of the weight on our indices. So Tesla, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Meta, Nvidia, and of course the SPY. You could also throw the QQQ in there if you're a NQ trader. Would not be a bad idea, but I like to see breaking across equities, across indices, and I like to just build up a stronger case. I was about to say a thicker case, a stronger case on the trade just to have some more conviction. But today was a pretty good day so far. It's been a positive green week, 3 days in a row. For myself, I hope you're also on the green side of things, but it doesn't mean we can't take a loss. It doesn't matter if you're 3 days green, 20 days green, or no days green. Every day you got a new trading session. So come to the market prepared with a plan. Make sure you get some rest. Take care of all your other obligations. If you have things that are interfering with your trade, if you're trading on the road, if you're out there doing a job and you're trading from your phone, try to make sure whatever else is going on in your life can't interfere once you enter that trade, and you can manage that trade effectively so you don't end up losing more than you should. And you never should when you enter a trade with a stop loss already predefined. There's plenty of ATM strategies that you can use. When you go into a trade, you've already got your stop loss set, your TP set. And yeah, anyways, I'll get off that spiel. Let's get into the levels then for tomorrow. After we broke today, we did have a wick above after the close, after the bell, that broke the current week's high, but we didn't close above there. So I'm going to leave that there. That's also, if you note here, that is also the all-time high during the regular trading hour session. And then right above that, you have the overnight all-time high. I went ahead and already plotted a 30-minute fair value gap that was set after the bell. And then we have one down here. And then, of course, my fib draw. This is just another level. I know this might look like a lot. Let me take the settings off to make it a little bit easier to see here. But this fib draw is going from the current week low to the current week high. And what this is doing for me is pointing out an area of support. And if this area holds, we have long targets above us. So I want to actually fix this really quick and make sure this is 100% accurate. So the current week low is at 64.30.75. So let me fix this. And then the current week high, again, this is our overnight technically, or not during RTH session after the bell, but we're going to plot this anyways since price did go up there. 65.05.50. And let's also move these to the left to make it a little bit easier to see target profits off of these fibs. So once you have that set, this zone here is what I'm going to be eyeing. I've already got this boxed in as a potential area of support. And then the targets for that fib draw are above us at 65.23, 65.51s, and then 6600s. There's some other deeper, I should say deeper, higher time frame fibs above us. If we go back to the 20-day 1 hour, let me remove this highlighted session, and we look at the low of August at 62.39.5. Let's make sure this is also accurate. 62.39.5 to the high 65.08.75s, and we'll update these as well. I'm going to keep these this color, and then let's actually update these. Let's go this blue. Just don't want to confuse all the other fibs out there. So, and then again, put this on the left, a little easier to tell what I'm talking about here. So higher time frame targets for this fib zone, which we would draw from here over to here. If this zone holds, those are the target profits above at 65.72, 66.75s, and 68.51s. May take a while to get there because, again, this is like the entire month of August. We've only got a few days left for the August trading session. So I just want to keep those in mind. Higher time frame fibs are always important. They act stronger than shorter RTH fibs. Let's go ahead and get back to the 1 hour, or sorry, the 15-minute here, and look at the levels for tomorrow. So overnight open at 64.85. That's already been established. There's that 30-minute fair value gap. There's also a little 15-minute fair value gap that is right inside of that. If you want to plot that, be my guest. I'm just letting you know there's one currently open. Then you got your prior day and your current week high, overnight all-time high, last week's high, and then below us there's that fib zone that is boxed in, a fair value gap, and then the low of Tuesday. Let's actually fix this. This is not the low that we want. We want the prior day low for Wednesday. So today's low was at 64.72.75. And I'm just going to update this to say Wednesday. And also one other thing I was going to do. Where was that? Sorry, I'm looking for my snap button. Snap crosshairs 2. Open, high, low, close. That actually makes it a little bit easier when you're scrolling over. It'll just touch the tops. You don't have to like guess and then retype. That will make it a little bit easier instead of me having to retype all that stuff. Anyways, Here's our levels. Again, the strategy is always the same. We're going to be plotting that 15 minutes of range. I'd be very curious to see if we open up by the 50% or anywhere within this support zone. And we may get that classic Nike check where we break below and then climb again. Additionally, say we get up to the top by morning time and we have a reversed Nike sign where we break above, fail, and come back down. But we'll be monitoring our internals. If we do get a breaker and we're within one of these daily levels within 5 to 10 points, personally, I want to see a 5-minute candle break above. So here's a better example. If we zoom into tomorrow and say our 15 minutes of range is like 6,500 to, let's see, realistically, let's just go to 91s. Let me open this up here. Let's go down to 90s. We're averaging like 10 points in a lot of these opening ranges on the ES. Anyways, let's say this is the opening range, right? And we've got candles plotting inside. This would be our no trade zone. Oh, you can't even see this. Let me just remove that. But we would want to see a 5-minute candle break above the opening range for sure. Like that's a great signal, just like today. And then we look at our internals. But then for myself, I'm looking, okay, next candle, what is it doing 1 minute in, 2 minutes in, 3 minutes in, 4 minutes in? If you're 4 minutes in this candle and it's starting to look like this, where we've gone above the prior day high, but it has came back down into the opening range, I will not be entering in a long until I see a change in direction where there's a candle that closes above the prior day high and not just a wick above. I want to see conviction that we can hold that level as we go higher. These resistant levels will become support, and a lot of the times, like I appreciate Gus pointing this out today, you break certain levels of resistance. You can certainly tag those again. They can act as support, and then you take off. But pair the internals. Look at not just price. Of course, price is king, but adding context into your trade can really go a long ways. Adding context by using your market internals, just as the VIX and the tick. If you're longs, you want this to be over zero. If you're short, you want it to be below zero. And then look at the other equities that make up, or look at the equities that make up your product along with the indices. So I like to look at the equity chart here. This will show me, these are only programmed for RTH hours, so they'll start plotting when the market opens. But you'll see Tesla, Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple, and then Google, Meta, NVIDIA, and of course the SPY. And I want to see a trend, or at least if I'm going long, I would like to see these equities also breaking their opening range to the long side. The more ammo on your side, ammo, being confluence that you have to build up your trade will help you, in my opinion. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just my trading strategy. But the more I have pointing in the direction of my trade, with whether it's indicators, whether it's levels, but most of all, price action in relation to the orb and daily levels. That's what I'm using to build my narrative for my trade. And I hope you guys have found this helpful. I'm going to actually just move this over here into the overnight hours so it's not totally confusing for myself. So it's just clean, and all we have tomorrow are these levels, which, again, the 38s, 50s, and 61s are fib support levels. The overnight open is at 64.85s. Last week high, prior day high, current week high, and the RTH all-time high. And then the overnight all-time high is what we're looking at. And then below us, current week low, we have that fair value gap that has not been fully cleaned up from Jackson Hole on the 22nd when JP got on the mic and price action took off. And then again below that is another fib zone for a higher draw. I know that might be a lot, you know, if I'm talking too fast or if there's just too much going on the charts. I apologize. Leave me some feedback. Open to any comments if you'd like to. Feel free to roast me in the comments too. Whatever floats your boat. I am just simply here showing my strategy. Hopefully you've learned something. I will see you guys in the morning. Have a great night.